Alright guys, this is my year of Shmups, year in review. As you can see, there's a couple replays here. This is my first God clear right here. Sorry about all the noise in the background. I am in my basement troglodytic lair, and that's the heat going. So hopefully you'll be able to hear me. This is God mode. I'm not really going to comment on the game so much, I don't think, but more on the year I had, because if you've been following me, Special World on the forums, Bunny Girl Butts on Twitter, whoever else, who knows where, this year was, I made myself a plan, and I decided that I would take the whole year to get better at Shmups, and Futari was my main rubric. Prior to this year, I had only ever beaten Black Label Original, which is the easiest arcade mode, and I wanted to progress further, and so I made myself kind of like a scoring rubric for the year, and I said if I beat 1.5 Original, that would be okay. If I beat Black Label Maniac, that would be good. If I beat 1.5 Maniac, that would be great. If I beat God mode, that would be unbelievable. And if I beat Ultra mode, that would be literally impossible. I pretty much wrote that one right off the table, because I don't think, maybe somebody could go from Black Label Original to beating Ultra mode in 1 year, maybe. But it wasn't me. I didn't even want to go for it, and I knew it would be an absurd thing to expect of myself. So I called it impossible. I try to keep my stuff realistic, and I decided that would be ridiculous. But to be 100% honest, I believe I started on December 14th of last year, and I had been percolating a bit. I had been, practicing here and there a bit, but that's when I really started being systematic about it. I started writing things down, so that's my official starting point. At that point, I had still only beaten Black Label Original, so by December 14th of this year, by the end of the day, I had completed 1.5 Maniac, so I would consider that a great result per my personal grading. That day, I had a God mode run that should have cleared. I should have cleared God mode exactly 1 year from when I started. It would have been, the perfect end cap, whatever. I'm not too stressed about it. It really, basically it came down to, I had one bomb at the end. I could use it or save it. I think if I had used it, actually the bomb would have taken me through the rest of Lars's health bar. But I was worried about her next pattern. I don't think I should have been. I think I should have used the bomb. I think it would have been a clear. And so I was, I wasn't too bummed out about it, but I was a little bit like, ooh man, that was a really good run. Like I don't know when I'm gonna have a good run like that again. And then the very next day, I ran this run and I cleared it. So 1 year and 1 day, went from beating Black Label Original, the easiest mode, to beating God mode, the second to hardest mode. Now, if you talk to people on the Discord, on the forums, they'll say, God mode's not that hard. What they mean is that Ultra mode is absolutely ludicrous, and so compared to Ultra mode, like God mode is a piece of cake. But I would consider 1.5 Maniac to be quite a hard game. I think 1.5 Maniac is harder than a Ketsui 1-all, which I consider Ketsui to be pretty hard. And so I would say it's harder than that. And then God mode, I would say, is even harder than 1.5 Maniac by a good bit. So just, it's all perspective. I think this is a very hard game compared to Ultra mode. Yeah, right? It's all perspective. So, my year in review, it was, it went better than I could have possibly imagined. Because, basically, a year and a day, I got my unbelievable result. If you told me within 1 year, I would be beating God mode, I would have said, like, that is hard to believe. I would be really surprised because, I've owned this game for 13 years, and it's not like I was going ham on it. Like, I let it sit for most of that time and didn't play it. But, in 13 years, I had cleared the easiest mode, and the rest of the game was just sitting there. So when I say that clearing 1.5 original would have been okay with me, like, yeah, that would have been okay with me. That would have been, better than what I'd done in 13 years. But I went way past that, and I made way more progress. So I would say the big things that I got this year, obviously the God mode clear and all the clears in between. But I also, I got, overall, I think I got 54 clears for this year, 54 1cc's. And that's, when I say that, I mean like 54 1cc's of like any type. So like, if I got, the easy clear with Sone and Sisters Royale, that's 1. You get the easy clear with Noor and Sisters Royale, that's 2. You get the normal clear with Sone, that's 3. Some people might be like, well, I consider that legit. I consider different modes and different characters to be legitimately different clears. Now, if you want to know, like, the number of normal difficulty clears of distinct games, so like normal difficulty Gradius 2 PCE and normal difficulty Sisters Royale, any character, etc. I tallied those up and I think it came out to 28. So 28 completely distinct clears of normal difficulties. For me, that's really good, because up until this point, like, if you had asked me, like, what's the last game you cleared, I'd be like, I don't know. I don't know what that is. Maybe I would have some answer. Maybe I'd say, like, I don't know, it was like maybe like Mushi 1.0 original or something. But yeah, it was not like I was, gangbusters clearing things. It's not like it was something that I was able to even keep in my memory, because it wasn't something that happened often, and maybe it just is that it wasn't something I tracked, but it was a major difference between this year using my practice method and spending 25 to 60 minutes playing 6 days a week. Overall, over the year, I actually averaged 54 minutes a day, which was actually more than I wanted to do. I thought if I could average like 45, that would be like optimal. But I enjoy playing these games. So I would say the other benchmark, so I had Futari God mode, and I had the number of clears. I wasn't really making anything but the Futari difficulty modes, like my actual like measuring stick, because I think that is something that just makes sense. But I did have, the number of clears was like a soft goal that I'm proud of. It wasn't really a goal. Anyways, it was just a soft thing I was proud of. But then also, in the last 3 months, I decided, okay, I'm going to give myself like a stretch goal and I gave myself a stretch goal of getting the 1-all in Ketsui. And I started with X mode, and I cleared that because that's like a good bit easier, but still gives you good practice in the game. And then I think it took me roughly 2 months to get the Ketsui 1-all, including doing X mode. So maybe a little bit more, roughly 2 months. So that I was really happy with. I consider Ketsui to be a very challenging game, just even for the 1-all. It was something that I had tried to work on, you know, a year or two ago, and I thought, like, let's see what Ketsui looks like and see how far I can go. And I didn't have a proper practice plan in place, and I think I had some maybe wrong ideas, or like just like a not 100% solid way of approaching it. And so I really I kind of noped out in stage 4 and 5, and I just thought at that point that it was kind of not in the cards for right then. But I gained a lot of confidence this year, and I gained a lot of skill, and I was able to pull that one off. So quite happy with that as well. As for what's gonna happen, this is a pattern this is the difference between me looking up a pattern and finding out it's really easy versus thinking it's one of the hardest patterns in the game. So if you come across a pattern that you think is just ridiculous, you know, just try looking it up. Because that made all the difference in at least saving me one bomb. As for what I'm gonna do in the year ahead, I really am not sure. I've been dabbling in Black Label Original to try and get my score up, and I'm thinking of working on Ultra mode, but I'm not the type of person who's driven to beat something because it's there, because it's super duper difficult. And that's, I think, kind of what Ultra mode is. It's like, it's not, I don't feel like people go at Ultra mode like, oh, like this is actually the best mode in Futari. They go at Ultra mode because it's like climbing Mount Everest or something. Like, it's there, and so you think you should do it. I might work on it. I think it is a fun mode, like just to practice and mess around with. But I really, I don't know that I have the desire to go all the way on it. Maybe we'll see. Maybe I'll give myself a little cool down period, and then I'll be right back at it. I don't know. But for now, I'm keeping with my main versus alternate schedule. I'm keeping Futari as my main. Right now, I'm practicing Black Label Original and trying to improve my score a bit. And I've got a sheet so I can alternate between that and Ultra mode. So this whole year, I think, I just want to say, like, I think it would be typical for people to assume that, like, that it was hard, like that this was hard work, that I spent a year doing hard work. No, it was like effortless. And I don't mean to say that any of these games were easy, because they weren't. Like, each Futari, you can see I'm even in this run, like, I have no lives left, and it's only stage 4. Like, I'm clearly struggling, and right now watching this, like, I can't believe I pulled it back, really. That's pretty absurd. But, the games weren't easy. It took me 2 or 3 months between each mode in this game, if you just think about it, like, logically. It took me 2 or 3 months between each mode, so that's 2 or 3 months of mostly practice, mostly training, to get each of these Futari clears. I was alternating each week, so I do 1 week of Futari and then 1 week of another shmup that I wanted to play, and then 1 week of Futari, and then 1 week of another shmup that I wanted to play. And so, but what I mean by like it was effortless is like when you, like the hardest thing is deciding to do something and like then getting out of your own way. I feel like what I did right in setting up my plan was I was just like, okay, here's how long I'm gonna play, and I'm not gonna worry about like the result of it. I'm not gonna worry about what comes out of it, or like how each individual play session goes, because that varies. Like that's not set in stone. It varies, and I only have control over how often I practice. Like I can sit there all day and tell myself like I want to no miss no bomb stage 3, but I don't have control over that. The only control I have is I am going to play stage 3 as part of my mix, and like I'm gonna switch between the levels, and I'm gonna play 25 to 60 minutes each day, 6 days a week. Like that's all there is to it. Like no matter what your lofty goal was, like you want to set the Dodonpachi world record, like you don't have control over how good you do. You don't have control over that. All you have control over is how long you practice, and to some extent what your mindset is, what you're like, how you're seeing what's happening. Because right here you could see what's happening and say there is absolutely no chance that he'll clear, and that would be a totally fair assessment. Like it seems like there's absolutely no chance I'll clear. I have 1 bomb left and 0 lives left at stage 4. Larsa is absurd in pretty much any mode of this game. So yeah, and there goes my last bomb, right? I'm gonna get one before the mid boss right here. So I'm going into the, or not the mid boss, the stage boss. So I'm going into here with 1 bomb. Absolutely precarious. Yeah, you know, you can look at this however you want. You know, you have a bad play session one day, you can look at that how you want, but that just happens. And another thing is, you know, I never plateaued, and I never grinded. Okay, people, you know, it's hard to say. I don't want to say that people are wrong, or that people are just not doing it right, or their like subjective experience is faulty. That's not what I'm trying to say, but people, like I was at a skill plateau, right, before I started. Like I didn't feel like I was making a ton of progress, but once I set out the practice framework, and once I just decided to do it and how I was going to do it, it took care of itself. I didn't have, you know, while I was playing this, I didn't have any plateaus. I went from 1.5 original, then I beat it with Recco after beating it with Palm, then I did Black Label Maniac, then I beat it with Recco after beating it with Palm, then I did 1.5 Maniac, did it with Recco, and then I went to God mode with Recco, because she's apparently much easier in this mode because she's got more coverage. And the whole time I kept getting clears in other games on my alternate week. There was no plateau because I just set myself up in the right way. And in the same way, I told myself, like, all I can do with these games is give them my time and give them my attention. Like, giving them that 25 to 60 minutes and focusing on the game instead of my internal, my mirror of what the game is, like my mind mirror that tells me like, oh, this is going bad, or like this is going good. Forget that. That doesn't tell you anything. It's not really helpful. It's not helpful at all. The only thing that you can do is you can spend the time and you can invest your focus as best you can. And coming back to it each day, except on your break day, you will be working on your focus. You'll be training your focus, and you can train your focus in any number of ways. This is mostly the way that I train my focus. You could probably do it way better. You could be very systematic about that. But there was no reason for me to grind. I was just playing the levels in training mode. Like, that's what I was doing. There's no grind to it. If you absolutely can't stand training mode, then just do 1 or 2 full runs every day. Do 1 or 2 full runs every day and see where that gets you. Like, I'm sure that will get you somewhere quite good. There's no grinding necessary. However you like to do it is fine. Just spend the time, spend the focus. I will say I had my practice methods, and I'm sure they helped a lot. But yeah, this was a strong year. I don't know what next year what I'm gonna do. I really wanted to like write something, like write a book about gaining skill in games, but I don't know if it doesn't seem that feasible to me, because right now I'm only all in on Shmups, and there's not really a big market or anything for them in terms of like books. Like, who's going to buy a book about that? I've bought one, but I'm probably an oddity. So I don't know. It seems like YouTube is the thing to do. I don't know if I like making content for YouTube. I don't know if I'm destined to be a content creator. I started to get into running this year. I'm interested in getting more fit. That was crazy. Oh, okay, I died there. So, like, look at this. 0 lives. Stage 5. There's no way this should clear. Get the extra 1 up. This is a very precarious place to be in, because just Larsa herself can eat all that away. And don't discount yourself. I'm not gonna say stick with every single run, because if you just maybe you have a super terrible stage 1 in like God mode or Ultra, like a mode that can actually, you could take out a lot of resources in the first stage. Yeah, I don't know, maybe restart, but I just decided to keep going. I was already this far in the game. Now I'm just getting practice on these final stages. There's nothing wrong with getting that extra practice. Absolutely no chance of clearing, right? So you might as well just get your practice in. So here we go. I'd also like to say, like, I missed days. I did miss days. Not as many as you might think, because I was enjoying myself. Like, I looked forward to this time. Again, there was no grinding. There was no beating my head on anything. There was no getting upset that I had to play these games. I liked to play them, and I gained extra appreciation for them over the year. So I didn't miss that many days, but when I did miss a day, like, no really big deal. I missed like a lot of days in the first week. maybe I shouldn't say anything about this. I mean, not a matter of should or shouldn't, but you know, people come to this for advice. They come to this for the clear, not necessarily my personal life. But the very first week that I started this, I only logged, I think, an hour and a half total for the week. So that's that. I only got to play it for 3 days, but you think that could, that could just be a sign that I wasn't with it, that I wasn't meant to do this for a year. But my brother died that week. He died that first week. My brother Martin died of a fentanyl overdose. So, like, what was I gonna do? Was I gonna play 6 days of Blazing Lasers? No, I had things to do. I had to, write something to say about him. And yeah, it was a rough week. And those times that I was able to play my game, like, that was a great comfort for me to just be able to get out of my head a little bit and take a break from writing down the things I had to say for brainstorming, because you only really get one chance to say your piece about somebody in that way. So yeah, I don't bring it up lightly, but I know that there's a lot of other people out there who have had a similar experience and who have had a family member die of a drug overdose or a suicide or anything like that. So I'm right there with you. I'm right there with you, friends. And yeah, so you'll miss days, and be gracious on yourself. Be gracious on yourself and get back into it. And you don't have to play Shmups if you don't want to. No one is telling you you have to. So just do it if you want to. Do it if you like it. So looking at this, very precarious position. 2 bombs left. She's on the ropes and I'm on the ropes. This pattern, very difficult. And here I'm in the exact same position that I was the day before. And this time I said, you know what? I'm using the bomb. And now I'm in the pattern that I was afraid of. I'm right in the pattern. This time slowed down here. Time was going really slow. And I can't believe that I got through that pattern, because I would say I maybe got through that once in training mode ever. That was pure focus. And after this run, I wish I could say that I just stood there like, yes, I did it. But no, I flipped out. I was excited. I popped off in the silence of my own basement. I felt like I almost gave myself a heart attack. Like, I got winded and I had to take a moment, because I didn't think I was going to get another run like the one I had the day before. Like, the day before was the 1 year anniversary of me starting this, and somehow it was also the 1 year anniversary of my brother's death. And so I didn't even realize that when I was playing it. I didn't realize until later in the day that that's what the time was, like what the clock was at. And so I thought, you know what? I'm just gonna have to let that one go. That would have been a really cool way to end it, but it's gonna be, 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks before I get another shot like that at Larsa. But then the very next day, I got almost the exact same shot. This shot was actually a little bit harder, I think, than the one I had the day before, because I think the day before, if I had used it, it was toward the end of the pattern, and it would have canceled that next pattern that I had to weave through this time. So this was a for me, that was a hell of a run. I think maybe even the next day I doubled my score in it, but to get the clear run, that was very intense. Yeah, you could see I was on the ropes for a lot of the game, and you're not out. You're not out till you're out. And so this was my year of shmups. If you want to do something like it, I encourage you to do it. If you want more information from me about my framework, like how I set things up for success, you can reach out to me. I'm hoping to figure out something that I want to do to make the information accessible, because I do think a lot of people in a lot of ways get in their own way, and they think that they have to go hard and be a superhuman to make progress. But I don't know about anyone else, but I'm just a human. I'm not I'm not iconoclast up here. I'm just a normal human. So probably iconoclast is a normal human too, but shout out. Yeah, you can do it. Be kind to yourself. It's all about just putting a little bit of time in, and as much attention as you can put into it. And if you have something else you'd rather be spending your time on, spend your time on that. There's no good reason to be playing shmups. No good reason at all. No good reason to be playing video games except if you like them. So, put yourself where the love is, and do your best. That's been my year. It was quite a year. I hope you had quite a year, and I hope next year is hopefully a good year for all of us. Much love. Take care. Signing out from my troglodytic lair. Peace.